Okay, welcome to the first attempt at a SPNHC Wiki site training video. I am Rachel Arenstein, and I am a contractor hired by SPNHC to help create and get our initial groups of content up on the site. I'm also the e-editor for the American Institute for Conservation, where I oversee the AIC Wiki. So the goal for this training session is to give you a basic introduction to the site and how to do some basic editing and get started adding content. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to log in here in the top right corner. My username and password information is already entered since I've been on the site before. In order to get access, you will have to contact either me or either Breda Zimkes or Jessica Cundiff, who are the Wiki Best Practices co-chairs. And once you are set your new username, you'll be able to enter that and the randomly generated password that you have here. Please remember that your username is case sensitive as well as your password. So we're going to log in. If this is your first time, logging in, or when you have your first time logging in, you may want to go to Special Pages and go to Login, which will allow you to change your password to something that you will be able to, you'll do it here under Reset Password, which is the better choice, under Users and Rights, which will allow you to reset your password to something that you will more easily be able to remember than the randomly generated one. Okay, so now you're in, and we're here on our main page. So as we start to generate new content, the main page may start to look a little bit different, but right now we have a little bit on how to use the site, a few links that actually don't really go anywhere yet on the moment on hot topics, so that will be something we'll be changing as the site develops, and some tips here on using the SPNHC Wiki. So one thing that you can start to see immediately is that some links here are blue and some links are red. Blue links are an immediate indicator that there is content to be seen if you follow that link to a page, and a red link means that that sort of digital space has been set up and named, but there is not actually content sitting there. So the two ways in which the SPNHC powers that be envisioned that the site would be used, at least at first, were by committees and for the dissemination of best practices information. So let's focus for today on the best practices. So I'm going to click here in best practices on our left-hand menu, and you'll see this takes us to what's called a category page. So the name of a page, which is something that you can't change once you've set up, so naming a page is something that you'll want to sort of give some thought to at the very beginning. But anything that's in this sort of top bar here is the name of the page. So in this case, we have, there are different kinds of pages. Some are content pages, some are user pages, some may be file pages for material that we upload to the site. So it's just important to remember that what you see here in the top left is the entire name of that page. So in this case, a category page actually pulls together content across the site that has a category tag. So all of these pages that you see down below were set up, some content was put in, and a best practices category was assigned. So let's check one page out. This is the page on food management, which has content from Bethany Palumbo, Fran Ritchie, and Rebecca Newberry. And you'll see down here at the bottom, we have this category and best practices. So, so let's follow that back. So a category page, or anything that's tagged with a category page brings together automatically any content page across the site that has that tag. So they're a good way of bringing things together, and then you can edit them as you will any other page. So, but so this will be sort of the main portal to accessing the best practices content. But where do you find that content? So each page is going to have its own title. And let's jump in first, and we're going to talk about sort of how to add some content before we start sort of how to set up a brand new page, because I think that will be easier once you have some familiarity with some other things. So we've already started this this page on genetic resources, and we've put in already a bit of an outline, but as you see, only a couple of these initial sections have content. So what we're going to do now is add a little bit of new content and sort of play with that. So again, we have our page title up here on the left, and as you see, there's no sort of prefix here. There's no user colon or category colon. This is what a normal sort of page looks like. And you'll see here that there's two tabs at the top. One is page and one is discussion. So the page is really the content that we expect people are coming to the site to see. You know, this is the goods. This is what, you know, they want to read and take away the content and learn from. The discussion page, which is, you know, essentially a similar page. You edit it, you'll work on it in the same way. But the goal of the discussion pages is a place where people can sort of comment on the content, on, you know, how did it come to be, maybe edits that they'd like to see, developments, you know, for the future, things like that. So the goal for the SPNHC Wiki is for only, you know, people who have been trained or are developing content to have the editing privileges to be able to add content to a page, but that, you know, anyone should be able to write in on a discussion page. And that's the way that sort of you generate feedback and do the sort of, you know, online peer review process. So you'll see here, this is also, you know, red. There's no content in there at the moment. So let's go up. And so these are the tabs on the left. And what you have here is right now we're, you know, reading the page. We can't, you know, do anything here. If I click on my keyboard, nothing happens. So in order to make any changes, we're going to have to click on the editing tab. So this brings us into the editing mode, which is, you know, made explicit by saying you're editing the genetic resources page here. So if you've ever worked on any sort of HTML coding or anything like that, you'll see that this is, you know, very, very simple, very similar. A wiki page is essentially a website, but it, you know, is geared towards collaborative, you know, editing. You know, another example would be a Google Doc, which is, you know, essentially also a wiki sort of document. So what you'll start to see here is that in order to get formatting on this page, there's, you know, little bits of, you know, these equal signs or number signs or asterisks, and these are all the little bits of code that make the page look the way we want them to. So luckily now at this point we have some pieces of sort of shortcuts on the window here to help us format our page, so you don't have to remember all of these on your own. So let's take a look at what we have here. Some of these are going to be sort of obvious to you if you've, you know, done anything on a computer in Word. So we've got bold, we've got italics. This is your signature and timestamp. We'll come back to this later, adding a link, embedding a file, and creating a citation. But if we click on this advanced, this is going to give us a few other options. You'll see various heading levels, formatting with bullet points or numbered lists. This no wiki format, which is when you want to put in content, or maybe you want to have these characters but not have them create the formatting. So you would use this. New line puts in sort of a line bar, and some of these other things in terms of the size of the font, superscript, subscript, and these we'll get to maybe a little later. Special characters work the same way they do if you're editing in a Word document. And you can always click on help for more information and see what the coding would look like for different kinds of formats. Okay, so let's see where we left off in creating our content. It looks like we left off in the funding and budget category. So in this case, for this document, I have a Word document that we're going to pull the content from. Obviously, if you're just writing new content off the sort of top of your head, you're not going to be cutting and pasting. But so let's see if we can scroll down, and I'm going to do this sort of rough. So Breda, don't freak out if I mangle your content for now. Let's see if we can funding and budget. Okay, so let's copy a little bit of let's not bite off too much. Let's take one paragraph here, and we're going to play with it. So sometimes if we're copying from a Word document, you can get some funky, Word has all this, code and formatting of their own. So sometimes what I will do is I'll just paste it in and sort of see what happens. But if you want to be safe, or you ever find that things are looking a little strange and you can't figure out if there's sort of residual code in there that's screwing things up, if you paste it into something like Notepad, which strips out all the formatting, then you will be safe. So in this case, I put it all in here, and I'm going to lift it again, and now I'm going to pop it into our wiki site. Oops. Okay. Voila. I have just now added a whole chunk of content to this section. So let's play with it a little bit so that you can sort of see what these things do. The current and future potential of a collection for researchers conducting is highly impacted by the efficient monitoring and storage of the general. Okay. Let's say we want to create a bulleted list for some of this stuff. So, obviously this isn't really what we'd want to be doing with this content, but just for now. So, just like you would in a Word document, we're going to highlight the text, and we're going to click here on our bulleted list. So you see what it did is it puts in the asterisk here, and to create those bullets. And in this case, just for kicks, let's see what happens if we do this. So now we have the number symbol, which will give us a numbered list. So I didn't have to use my WYSIWYG, the what you see is what you get editor buttons. Once you start to know the code really well, you can just sort of blithely pop in these characters. But I'm sort of curious as to whether this actually looks like what I'd want it to. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look by showing a preview. So if you scroll down to the bottom of your editing window, you'll see that you have a couple of buttons here, and the two most important ones are Show Preview and Save Page. So I love the Show Preview button because it allows you to sort of see what you've done. And so we see here, we have our funding and budgets, we have our bulleted points, and we also have our numbered list here. Okay, well, in this case, just for demonstration purposes, let's say that it looks exactly the way I want it to. Now, what you'll see at the top is that it says, remember, this is only a preview. Your changes have not been saved. If at this point I go off and navigate to another page, I'm going to lose those edits. So one thing that's really important as you work is to get into the habit of saving your page frequently. So, and when you save a page, it's good practice, and since we're all about best practices here, it's good practice to put something in this summary field. So we're going to say, here, added content to the, which section was this? Funding and budgets section. Okay, and I'm going to show you why this is useful. I'm going to hit Save Page. Once I do that, you'll see my edit was saved, and my editing window disappears, and it throws us back into our page in read mode. So we'll scroll down, and you'll see we have our funding and budgets there. So, okay, why was all of that important? Let's click on our view history. When you go into view history, you'll see that every time you hit Save Page, it adds an entry into the log. And when you add content into that summary section, it records that as well. So in this case, you can see that I was just working in the references section or the source material section. Here I was working in the developing policy section, and I reformatted those text into bullet points. So as a page continues to develop and get edited and changed over time, when people are good about putting in that summary, you can very quickly sort of get a sense of like who did what to a page just by going into the view history. So the thing that's really great about a wiki is that it's pretty much bulletproof in terms of you cannot really screw up. With administrator privileges, you can sort of screw up, but for most people with editing privileges, you can't make an irreversible error on a wiki. The view history, and if you've saved your content, it means that you can always sort of go back. You can roll back to a previous version by hitting undo here. And so what you should feel good about is as you start to add content and play around on the site, nothing you do, you can't make the whole site disappear. You can't take it down. Everything will be okay. And if you think you've done something truly dastardly, you can contact me or James Macklin or Joel Sachs or someone. But it's pretty much impossible to do. So as a page starts to get fuller with additional edits, one of the things that's really great is that you can then go back and compare different versions. So in this case, I want to compare our current version with let's say with our first version, and we're going to click on those two versions, and we're going to compare selected revisions. So this takes a little bit of experience to sort of understand what you're looking at, but it becomes clear over time. This is our September 27th edit, and this is our October 29th edit. And you'll see in that one on the left, the earlier version, really I just put in the outline and a few bits and pieces. I added this sort of breadcrumb to allow people to navigate back to the main page. I put in the category. And then all of this stuff highlighted in blue with a plus is an addition. And if I did something and took content out, you'd see it there in a different color with a minus. So that's the ability to track content and who did what, and all of that is a real strength of the wiki. So again, putting in summary content allows you to sort of track that more easily without even having to compare those various revisions. Of course, you can start to get advanced about how you sort of browse through the history once it gets long and detailed. So before I go on, let me just check in with you and sort of see, how you're doing. Do you feel, that you're beginning to get a sense of what goes on? There's a difference between, your content page and, the discussion page, which is, sort of something else, and that generally people are going to be reading your content in, read mode, and that you have these two other tabs, one where you're in editing mode and one where you can sort of see what's going on. All of that sort of making sense at this point? Correct. No, you will have a View History tab, which is interesting, but you will not have an edit. So let me see, actually, I think I have, here, I have another browser set up. So I'm going to log out here, and let's go to our best practices page and just click on a page. So you'll see actually you have your page and discussion, and you have the ability to view the source. So I can actually see the code here, which is sort of neat because there have been times when I've like, how do I make the page look the way I want to? And you can navigate to almost any other media wiki site, and you can go in and view their source code, and you can even, you can sort of lift that, but I can't change. So I've highlighted this, I'm pressing backspace, I'm pressing delete, like I can't do anything here. It's just letting me see it. And you can go in and you can view the history, as well. But you can't actually change anything. I can't add anything to that discussion. So, once you put something on the wiki, it's live, it's out there. The reality is that until the site isn't actually launched to, the public yet, and even once it is, and, unless you let people know it's there, it's not like we're going to have hordes coming, to see stuff in the beginning, but it's, just something to keep in mind that once you put it up there and you hit save, save edits or save page, it's live. Do you have any other questions before we move on? Okay. So here in our food management page, you actually, we have a little bit of content in here in the discussion, just, as a way of sort of tracking what was going on. So you'll see, the page again is our food management. This is our, content page, what we, expect people are going to see. The discussion has this prefix talk and then food management. So, this is again the full page title, and this I just set up with some notes to allow Bethany, Rebecca, or Fran to sort of track, some of the decisions that I made as I was, putting content in there. What you'll see here is something that I sort of touched on briefly in the editing bar. So let me actually go back to the browser where I'm logged in. Oh, let's see. Which one am I logged in? Here. So let's go back to food management and our discussant page. So, and I'm going to click on edit here. So you'll see that what just came up as that Rachel Arenstein and with the date was actually created by using the signature and timestamp. And so I didn't actually have to remember to put in all of this, funky code. So here I'm going to, let's say, let's go and sort of add something maybe back to our genetic resources page that we were working in. So let's say, okay, we didn't have any content in there, and so it's going to tell us by adding content, we're creating, we're creating this page. So ooh, you'll see how bad my typing is. Okay, so just for demonstration purposes, I've sort of put in a note of where I'm getting this content from, and I'm going to click on this, which gives me this sort of funky code, and I'm now going to hit Save Page. I'm not going to bother putting anything in the summary now because we'll probably wind up deleting this later. But once we've saved the page, you can see that it puts in all of that information automatically. So again, you're probably not going to use this on your content page, but in the discussion page, this is a really great thing to allow people to sort of track again, who was doing what and whose thought process was guiding the page development. Okay, so let's go back to our page and play around with a few other things. So let's go back into our editing mode. And let's see, what else do we want to do to our content here? Well, let's say, actually, we want to talk about budgets. We don't want this to be a numbered list. This should be a whole different section that we want to add to our outline. So let's say we want this to be, we want to split up funding and budgets to be separate. So you'll see here this facility management has 2 equal bars and access and security has 3 equal bars. That's because this is a level 2 header and this is a level 3 header. And the way you do headings is up here. So, and if you stick with these, it will, make our pages, consistent across the site, which is helpful sort of visually. So level 2 is, this maybe we'll do as a level 3 underfunding. We'll create a separate header for budget. So, I just highlighted that and clicked there. So let's see, what else do we want to add? We can say, now here's something that's funky. I'm not quite sure why this happened. This may have been some funky leftover code, again, from pulling this. But since we actually did put it into the notepad, I'm not quite sure why that happened. Okay, so we can take out all that sort of like funky spacing. Now let's say we want to do, okay, so let's make that a subscript. I'm just sort of, putting in a few things so we can see, what they look like. So here, maybe we want to add a link to another site that that deals with, budgeting. So let's think of well, I don't think we want job opportunities, but okay, let's say grants and awards, well, because it has to do with funding. Okay, so let's say we want to put in a link to the Spinach page for grants and awards that you will use for funding your genetic resources project. So here I'm just going to take, just copy this link. I'm just using the keystroke for for fun, and I'm going to go back to my editing page. So okay, so I tend to not like when sites say, click here, unless it's sort of really necessary. I think most people have sort of learned that if something's like highlighted or a different color, it's probably a link. So in this case, we just want to say the Spinach Grants and Awards page, and we're going to make that a link. So we do that by clicking here on our little chain icon, which is a link. And so you'll see that it's saying the page does not exist because we haven't put in where we want it to go. So I'm going to paste in that that URL that I had copied from the other browser, and you'll see it automatically recognizes that this is an external link, and it's going to put in this little icon to make that clear to everybody else. The text that this link is going to appear, its sort of alias, is here, and just to confirm, we're going to an external web page, and let's go insert this link. So you'll see here that we have this bracket, and a single bracket creates an external link. And this is important because when we want to link within the wiki, we're going to use a double bracket. So here, let's just do and we're going to hit the show preview. As we scroll down, and okay, so you'll see here we have our level 2 header. Here was our playing around with our level 3 header, and here we have our superscript that we've put in here for CO2, and we've now added with this automatically generated little symbol a link to an external page. Terrific. So we've got links down. Now let's think, maybe we want to link to another page already here about, funding or something on the wiki. So I'm going to check in my other browser where we might have another page that we want to link to from this one. So genetic resources. Well, let's say we want to go to the implications on sustainability for genetic resources. So if we want to set up a link to an internal page, what we need is, again, this exact page title. Just because, like with our username, we discussed that wikis are oddly case specific. So in this case, I find it always easier to sort of cut and paste. So again, I'm going to just use the keystroke Control-C to copy that. And we're still in our editing mode. I haven't saved anything yet. So I'm just going to go back to budget and say, you can. Okay, so let's say we want to now link to our internal wiki page here. I'm going to again click on our link, and here I'm going to now paste in the title, and voila, it recognizes that page exists, and it's to a wiki page within our site. So we're going to insert a link here, and you'll see this comes up with a double brackets. So here, what you're seeing is that this is the name of the site that we copied, the name of the page that we've copied from that previous page. And then we have this little upright bar, which separates that page title from that sort of alias content, what we actually want the page to say here. So again, I'm going to hit show preview again so that we see how that looks. So you'll see I'm not getting the actual name of the page, which I hover over it and you'll see it says environmental specifications and sustainability. But in this case, I wanted it to say something slightly different. So when you have an internal link, you have that ability to separate the destination from the sort of alias of how you want it to appear. And you'll see also that we don't have this little icon which indicates that this is an internal link. So before I do anything else, I'm going to hit save page. I've put something into my summary, and now we're back into our page mode. Okay, as you see here, you can also jump to edit just within a specific section of the site if you have your outline already in place, or if you hit at the top edit, that allows you to edit the whole page in the window at once. So sometimes if you just want to make a quick edit without having to sort of scroll through all of that page and all of that code, which can sort of get a little heavy on the eyes, we can just hit edit, and it just gives you that little bit of content, so you're not dealing, it just makes it a little bit more manageable. Okay. Well, this page I'm sure would look much more interesting if we have a picture in here. So why don't we discuss how we add other files or things that you might want to link to your page. So adding a file to a wiki page is actually a two-step process. We have a common sort of image library or file library, and I'm not actually sure how whether our file library has been separated from the other wikis on the BioWiki Farm site, but certainly anything that you load is visible, or is basically an open file library for the entire Spinach Wiki site, if not the entire BioWiki Farm site. So what we're going to do here is basically we're going to upload a piece of content into our wiki file library, and that's going to wind up giving us a page name, and we're going to use that page name to create an internal link to that content. So it's essentially the same process that we did, just by linking to another internal page within the wiki site. So let's click here on the left-hand menu on Upload File. And this is another reason why sometimes I like to have, either you can have a Word document sort of cheat sheet, and I have one actually that I may load up for people to use. But sometimes, I like to just sort of take this content and dump it into my notepad as a reminder. And here I'm going to choose my file, and let's go to my desktop. I think I just put in something innocuous. Where was that? Rehoused fossil. So the process of selecting a file is the same, as selecting any kind of other attachment when you're using your computer. We have a maximum file size of 50 megabytes, so if something isn't working, it may check your file size. And these are the file types that you're able to upload at this point. And obviously the ones that we can't do. So in this case, we have our destination file name. And again, just like in the other places, I encourage you to put in your summary information. And the reason for that is that the wiki search engine is very powerful, and I'll show you a little bit about that in a few minutes. And so this summary information is searchable. So I'm going to put in and let's see. Okay, I think that's probably enough for now. And let's see. When you edit on a page or upload a file, it puts it on your watch list. I'll also come back to that in a second. Okay, so I've selected my file. I've put in a little bit of information in the summary, and I'm going to hit upload. And once my computer is done thinking, we now have our file page for this piece of content. So again, now you'll see we have a file prefix. So, so the file and the file name is the whole page name that we're going to need to copy in order to be able to link to and input this image into our best practices page. You'll see here it has the summary information, and you'll have this file history, and every time we link to this file across the site, it will wind up putting that information in automatically. So, okay, terrific. Now let's navigate back to our genetic resources page. And let's say we're just going to edit in our budget section here. So we want to put in our image, and where did I put our cheat sheet from our notepad? So this was the stuff that was on that file upload as these sort of helpful things. So let me sort of put these in so you can sort of see the different implications of this. This is the name of our page of what we need. So if we want to use the full version of this file, we're going to copy this. And so basically what we want is to mimic this with our actual content here. Okay, so I have file : my file name, JPEG. Great. Okay, so, and then let's try that again for our second option, but here I need to input our file name into. Now here we've added in some other code. Here, like in the first version, you're just going to get your full version of the file. Here we're telling it within the brackets that there's some other things that we want to do to change this image. We want it to be smaller. We want it to have this thumb is going to give us a box around it. We want it to be justified left, and we're going to say okay, and well, just for kicks, we're going to do this last one. Okay, let's go down to our show preview, and you're going to see what those three options did. Okay, so the first one gives us that full version of the image. That's pretty big, probably not the way we want that page to look. The second one is pretty small, but you see we have the box. It gives us this, the caption underneath it. And the third one is when you have something like a PDF option, PDF article or something like that, and you don't want to, you don't want it to come up as as an image of that file. You want it to come up as just a link to that file. So that's this third piece of code here is generally used when you have something like a PDF or something else. For image files, you're going to want to use this, file prefix. So, okay, let's go back into our editing mode, and we're going to take out this one, which we know is too big, this one, which isn't, really what we want. But maybe we want to actually make that a little bit bigger, and instead of putting it on the left, we want to put it on the right. And let's show preview again. Okay. So now that's made it a little bigger, and we've moved it over to the right, and the text will flow around it if we have more in this section. So before I do anything, you'll see here, because I'm only working in this section, it tells me that I'm working just in the budget section, and I say, okay. Okay. So there's a few funky things that I haven't quite figured out about the site, pieces of code that work on other wiki sites and not on this one yet. So, I'll update you when I figure those things out. In terms of placing images and things like that, clearly that might not be where we want it to be because it's sort of underneath budget and bleeding into these other sections. But maybe we will save some of that, fine-tuning of formatting for another time. Okay. So how do you guys feel about uploading images to the site? You feel comfortable understanding that you have to upload it to your central image bank. You want to get that file name, that file colon and the full name of that image, and then you use that as an internal link to input that image into the page. That all sort of makes sense? Yep. With categories as well. Oh, that's a good question. Let's go back and see whether you can even do that. Let's see. I think we did save that, right? Yes, we did. Okay, let's go back and check that out. I don't think it allows you to do that. I don't think so. I think pretty much anything that you want, it wouldn't be a bad idea if there were important keywords to put those into the summary, in which case they wouldn't function like a category tag in that they would automatically pull that content into your category page, but it would allow you to pull it up in the search. Does that make sense? Okay, so actually let's talk about searching for a minute, since this is a good opportunity. So let's say if we go up, we're going to type, let's say we'll type fossil. Okay. So here, even though I just uploaded something where fossil was in the file name, what we're getting is a listing of any page where the word fossil is used in the page. So in this case, it's being used on the preparation page. Now, that's just sort of your basic search. The advanced search, though, allows you'll see here, we're just searching in those main content pages. But or actually it's clicking off another couple of things. But if we wanted to sort of find that file, I'm pretty sure I uploaded a file, about fossils, and I can't remember where to find it. So if I click on File here, now it's popped up. So, File, rehased fossil. So let's say, okay, we type on, let's get something else that's sort of obscure. Well, there's no, I'm not coming up as a content, as a name on a main page, and I'm not, the name, the word Rachel isn't in a file. But let's find if we're in a user or in a talk page. Okay, so now it's found my my username page. So let's try something else. Okay, so here you'll start to see that now we have a listing of any place where spinach is in the page title and where it's within the text. So let me come up with maybe a better example. And so let's do maybe food. Okay, so here you'll see we've got the page title, we have food management, we have talk food management. We also found a file. This was a best practices food and museum figure for, and then all the pages, where the page text comes up. So, it's good to know that there's this advanced search. You can go to everything, which is less selective than advanced. But you'll see that the search function on this is actually pretty robust, as long as you sort of know that that when you're using this search window up here, it's only going to give you the main button unless you click on advanced. So that's a little bit about searching and finding your way. So here, let's just say I want to find, I'm pretty sure I loaded like a little PDF logo. Let's see if we can find that. There we go. We have this. So I'm going to copy this because we're going to put this into our page too. So the next thing I wanted to bring up is the watch list. So anytime you edit on a page or you upload a file, if let's I don't know if you noticed that there was like a little star at the bottom of one of those pages. So those things are supposed to automatically go into your watch list. So the watch list then, if you can set this up in your user profile, allows you to receive an email for if somebody else then goes in and makes a change to a page. So that's a really great way, especially when you're working with a group, of sort of seeing who's been working on the page or keeping updated to any changes. Of course, you can check that by viewing the history of a page, but let's say for the AIC Wiki, where there's a lot of groups, there's a couple hundred editors and stuff. For the pages that I'm really interested in, I put them on my watch list, and then I know if anybody else has gone in, and it's a chance for me to go in and check out what they've been working on. So in this case, it may not do it for any page you create. Let's go back to our genetic resources page, or let's say I'm interested in integrated pest management. I'm gonna somehow that's already in my watch list. So if I remove it, okay, so now it's removed, and if I click on this, now it's been added. So, and the way you access your watch list then, again, is up here. And this, legend gives you a little bit of, information on, what was going on. This is just sort of the last couple, 5 changes in the last, 72 hours. But if I want to see what was going on in the last 90 days, you can see actually all of that, going on. So the watch list will be, important for you especially for the content pages that you're actively overseeing. Let's go back to our best practices, genetic resources, and have we put in, okay, I did actually already put in a link to, your full collection forum article. So you'll see here, let me go into oh, sorry, that was not what I meant to do. I didn't mean to do history. I meant to be into the editing mode. If we go all the way down here, okay, so we have this sort of general bibliographic reference, and then I wanted it to be that you could link to that, to the actual, PDF of that. So this is where we use that media prefix. So when I uploaded the PDF, it gives it a file prefix, but I don't want it coming up as a picture on the page. I want it to come up as a link, and that's where you change that to media. Again, I've got the double brackets, which indicates it's already loaded up in the site. This is the address here. It's separated by this upright bar, and then the actual title of the piece is what I want it to read as on the page. And then I put in, as you saw before, I searched on that PDF logo. Here I put it in. If you click on this, it just takes you to that file page for the PDF logo, which isn't really what we want people to click on, but it's a way of sort of making that pop up visually so that people can see, oh, if I click on this, I'm going to get like the full PDF of that article. So if I click here, it takes me to that file page, but if I click here, it's going to load up your collection forum article. So one of the things that's really encouraging to know about, on the wiki is one that you can't go wrong. You're not going to, be able to do anything too dastardly. As administrators, you actually do have the ability to delete a page, which is under here. I'd say maybe stay away from these until you feel a little bit more, more comfortable. Editors do not have the ability to, delete or move pages or protect them. Protect them means that other people can't edit on them unless they have equal privileges. But what was I? Just totally lost my train of thought. We were talking about protection, images. Goodness, where was I going with this? That you can't do anything too terrible, and well, it will come back to me in a minute. Let's take a break actually for oh, I remember what it was. It was that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So again, just like, you can't really make a mistake, you don't have to remember, all of these bits and pieces of coding. If you go into the edit mode, you'll see again, you have, all of these help and ways to remember what a page looks like. But the other thing that you can do is that if you look at, another page, not just on our wiki site, each wiki site has some customizations. So there's additional sort of widgets or plugins that you can add to a page that might not work on somebody else's media wiki site. But let's say we go back to the food management, and you say, oh, how did she get her, that image to sort of look that way, or all you have to do is, go back in this case, let's, just go back into that section. Seems like it wasn't in that section. Where was it? And let's see if we can find where that image file was loaded up. Again, this is sort of one of the strange things about where it's sort of placing the images, because I'm not even seeing that code. But the point I was trying to make is if you look at another page and you say, that looks sort of the way I want my page to look, you can go into the editing mode and just copy and paste that code into your own page. Hit preview and sort of see what it does. So in this case, like if you're not sure because it's not in one of the advanced or special characters bar, the colon gives you an indent without making it a bullet or numbered list. So again, if you haven't edited on the wiki, for a while, you're gonna, click on the edit mode and say, oh my God, I've totally forgotten what to do here. So don't panic, just go into another page, click on the edit mode, take a look at what it's doing, or just play around and, hit preview a couple of times and sort of see what it does. So again, it's, you should feel comfortable trying things out because everything's reversible as needed. So the last thing I think I want to try and cover before your brains are totally full is how to set up a new page. So I don't want to actually save these edits, so I'm just going to go back to best practices. So to set up a new page, we're going to go into editing in our category here. I'm going to go. So you'll see in a category page, wait, how do I get to that list, down there, down below? Why don't I see it? I have like the bibliography definitions here. I'll show it to you in show preview so you can see. I can see this text and how I edited this, but I can't see any of this. Well, again, that's because the category page automatically pulls in anything with this tag. So this is sort of automatically coded into the page, and the only thing that you can actually edit here is this written content up above. So in order to set up a new page, we're just going to have to go in somewhere else and add a link and then remember to delete it. It's a little bit cumbersome for adding a whole new content page. But let's just, we're going to, yeah, I'm going to leave this page. It's asking me, it's reminding me that I haven't saved this page, but that's okay because I didn't actually make any changes. So let's go back to our genetic resource, and we're going to do this in the section where I've already played around and put some of this in garbage. Jessica, for your content, what do you think would be the best name for that? Because remember, once we name a page, that we can't change. That's one of the few things on the wiki that is not changeable. We can, of course, create a new page, move a content over, and delete the old page. But what would you say? Curation of invertebrate paleontology? Okay. Okay, so we're going to create a internal link to a page that does not exist by willing it into existence. So we're going to say oops. Okay. Do you want to put in collections there? Yeah, that you're happy with that? Okay. And now we're going to save page. Okay, so we've now created this red link here, it's red because we haven't, there's nothing there. It actually does not exist as it's telling us here. Page does not exist, but let's make that page come into being. So here I think I put, let's just see. I don't know if it really works to pull from a PDF. Let's find out. Actually, let's make that a level 2. Oops. Oy, Butterfingers. Okay, here we go. And of course I said heading, but what I really wanted that to say is abstract. Okay. So as you see, I've sort of pasted that in from the PDF, which did some funky things to our spacing. Let's just clean this up. If we had put this into Notepad, it probably would have prevented this, but in for a penny, in for a pound for now. Okay, good enough for the moment. So I just put in a little bit of something here, but what I'm going to do, which is really important, is we're going to say category best practices. Okay, let's just hit show preview for now. Okay, so obviously I didn't do anything very sexy with this formatting, but once we're here, why don't let's do, okay, now we have our numbered list. Let's see how that looks. Okay, a little bit better. And I put in the category best practices, but again, that's a different kind of code, so we don't see that yet. So let's save page. Okay. If I'd gotten the category name wrong, you would see this as red, not blue. Again, because it would be linking to, in a sense, a category that hasn't really been created. So now, when we go back to our best practices category page, you'll see this new entry there. But now, of course, now we can click on this link and it takes us there. But we have to remember to go back into our genetic resources and take out that because we don't actually want it in there. So in this case, I'm actually going to just delete all of this. Now, I've deleted this, but let's say I've lost my focus for a section and I thought, oh, I really want to put in some discussion. Again, it's going to remind me to, whether I really want to do that before saving my content. And in this case, I'm going to say stay on the page and we'll save it. And we'll see, I got rid of that, funky section there. And if we go back to best practices, now, this is in place, ready for us to start, adding content to that page. So, so we've basically covered, how to start a new page, which is a little bit of a cumbersome process, but you'll get a hang of it. And, for the most part, right now you may not be starting so many new pages as, working on some of the existing content. So let me give you, I can't remember, was it Breda or Jessica who sent back some comments on the user guidelines? From both of you. Okay. So I didn't actually, I didn't have a chance to look at that yet, but what I'd encourage you to do is I put actually more or less the document I sent you up here online. And so one really easy way for you to get started practicing is to go in and, make your edits to this document, live online. And if you have any sort of discussion about, what you did or why that you want to, leave for me, you can put it into the discussion page. You can, use that timestamp to, to sign your name to it. And I'm, watching this page, so I'll automatically know when you, sort of big brother like when you go in and do that. The other thing that you can do for for practicing, which is really great because it's sort of is not sort of putting you in prime time, is by adding content to your user page. So again, if you guys, log in, you'll go and your user page will be empty. But, try putting in something. You can, load your CV up to the site, try linking to that. You can put a picture of you in there, do a couple of things just as ways of practicing, inputting content, formatting them, uploading some sort of image or file. So it'll be both useful as content that we want to have on the site, as well as a bit of practice. And that goes for you too, Andy and Genevieve, once you guys get your logins that Breda and Jessica are going to create for you. So I've been talking for a while. There's no end of things that I could continue to tell you about, but I think this is sort of like the basic introduction where I want to stop, and allow you to sort of rest your brains and hopefully, spend time, if not today, then in the next couple of days, in your user page, maybe checking out those user guidelines, and editing and starting to feel your way around the site. Does that sound good? Are there any questions that you can think of, at this point? Yes, that's, the best way. The other thing that you should, take a look at, is maybe the committees page. And I think Andy has, ideas of, how this could be used. And I think ultimately the goal is for every committee to have, someone who is wiki competent, who will be able to, make updates to this kind of thing. But how these pages are used ultimately, may be something that you'll be asked to weigh in on, over time. Um, so take a little bit of time. You can probably hear the committee members. You can go in and make your updates. You guys are the co-chairs, and so you can move those titles, titles and things around. Um, so that's something else you can check out and sort of play around with. You'll see also this, about links committee, and the same thing for the best practices is a template that's been set up that, I think as we start working on the site, we may want to change. So, that's something to sort of keep in the back of your mind as well. So before your brains explode, I'm gonna stop talking, and we'll sign off on, let me stop the recording.